I want to tell you about a moment that happened in a Whole Foods parking lot in Los Angeles 3 weeks ago. I had just parked and was walking toward the entrance when a man in a Ferrari 296 GTB, bright red, loud exhaust, full supercar drama, pulled into the space beside me. He stepped out, looked at his Ferrari, looked at my car, and kept walking. He did not look twice. As far as he was concerned, the gray car next to his Ferrari was furniture. That gray car was a 2026 Audi RS7 Performance, 630 horsepower, 3.5 seconds to 60 miles per hour, a twin-turbocharged V8 that on the highway produces a sound that makes truckers crane their necks. And it was invisible to a Ferrari owner in a parking lot. Not because it is a bad car, because it is a perfect sleeper. Welcome back to UC Car Review. Today we are reviewing a vehicle that represents something genuinely rare in the automotive world, a car with supercar performance, luxury car refinement, and an exterior so restrained that most people do not give it a second glance. The 2026 Audi RS7 Performance, in Nardo Gray, the most beautiful, most capable, most gloriously overlooked performance car available in America in 2026. And by the end of this review, you will either understand exactly why sleeper culture is the smartest philosophy in automotive purchasing, or you will remain the person who walks past one every day without knowing what you are ignoring. Before we discuss anything about the performance of the 2026 RS7, before we get to the engine, the technology, or the lap times, I need to talk about the body style. Because the RS7's shooting brake body is one of the most genuinely beautiful automotive shapes produced in the past decade, and it receives a fraction of the attention it deserves. Shooting brake is a term that originated with British coach builders in the 1800s. Vehicles used to transport hunters and their equipment that combined the enclosed passenger comfort of a carriage with the practical cargo space of a wagon. In modern automotive terms, a shooting brake is a fastback body style, a car that starts as a sedan or coupe at the front and flows into a hatchback at the rear, with a roofline that slopes dramatically without truncating abruptly like a conventional hatchback. The RS7's roofline begins its slope at the C-pillar and flows for 28 inches before meeting the rear glass, the longest fastback slope in any current production car. This proportion gives the RS7 a silhouette that is simultaneously sportier than a sedan, more practical than a coupe, and more elegant than a traditional estate. It is a body style that requires complete confidence in the design. There is no hiding an ill-proportioned fastback roofline behind dramatic styling elements. The RS7's roofline is exposed and perfect. In Nardo Gray, the flat, matte, non-reflective gray that Audi originally developed for racing car liveries before bringing it to road cars, the RS7's shooting brake shape reads as a single continuous surface from the front bumper to the rear hatch. No light play, no reflections creating visual noise, just the pure shape. On the road, it stops people who know cars in a way that supercars do not, because people who know cars recognize immediately how difficult it is to design something this resolved. 1.3 million. That is the number of individually controllable LED pixels in each of the 2026 Audi RS7 Performance's matrix LED headlight units. 1.3 million pixels per headlight, responding to road conditions, oncoming traffic, and driving speed at a refresh rate of 460 times per second. Your smartphone screen has approximately 2.5 million pixels across a display you use all day. Each RS7 headlight has more than half that many, dedicated entirely to illuminating the road ahead with precision that was not technically achievable in road car headlights until 3 years ago. The Matrix LED system works in a way that requires explanation to be fully appreciated. Traditional adaptive headlights, which most premium vehicles offer, use mechanical motors to swivel the entire headlight unit left and right, following the steering direction. This is useful but crude. The RS7's matrix system does not move the headlight unit at all. Instead, it selectively activates and deactivates individual pixel groups within the fixed unit, creating any desired light pattern electronically, in real time, faster than any mechanical system could respond. When an oncoming vehicle is detected by the forward cameras, the system maps its exact position and selectively dims only the specific pixels whose light would reach the oncoming driver's eyes, leaving every other pixel at full brightness. The road is fully illuminated. The oncoming driver is not blinded. The precision is exact enough to create a dark shadow that tracks the approaching vehicle's movement across the full width of the headlight beam. I have driven in rain, fog, heavy traffic, and complete rural darkness with these headlights. They do not just illuminate, they think. Sit in the 2026 RS7 Performance's sport seats for the first time, and the initial sensation is unexpected. They feel narrow. The side bolsters press against your hips immediately. Your shoulders are held. Your thighs are supported in a way that conventional car seats do not attempt. This is not discomfort. This is contact. The RS Sport seats are designed to maintain your body position during the lateral forces that 630 horsepower and quattro all-wheel drive produce in hard cornering, forces that a conventional car seat simply cannot manage. The seats are constructed around a carbon fiber structural shell, the shell that provides the seat's shape and side impact resistance. Over that shell, Audi's interior team applies a combination of Alcantara and leather in a pattern that has been used on RS models for over 15 years and has never needed to be changed because it was correct from the beginning. The honeycomb pattern Alcantara center panels provide grip during cornering. Alcantara's texture friction coefficient is measurably higher than leather, meaning your body stays where you put it through corners rather than sliding across a leather surface. The RS logo embossed in the headrest of both front seats is the only interior branding element that announces what this car is. Everything else is restrained. No red accents unless you specify them. No aggressive contrast stitching unless you choose it. The default interior is purposeful and dark. This is consistent with the RS7's entire character. It does not need to announce itself. The embossed logo exists not to impress onlookers. They cannot see the headrest from outside the car. It exists to remind the driver, every time they adjust the rearview mirror and catch a glimpse of it, that they are sitting in something built with a specific and serious purpose. The engine in the 2026 Audi RS7 Performance is a 4-liter twin-turbocharged V8, the E825, that Audi's sport division has been continuously developing since 2012, and which in its RS7 Performance state of tune represents the most powerful version of this engine available in a road car. 630 horsepower at 6,250 RPM. 627 pound-feet of torque available from 23.0 RPM all the way to 5,000 RPM. The twin turbochargers sit in a hot V configuration, mounted between the cylinder banks rather than outside them, in the hot exhaust gas flow. This placement spools the turbos faster and more completely than conventional external mounting, producing the throttle response that makes the RS7's performance feel larger than its numbers suggest. At part throttle in normal traffic, the engine behaves like a large naturally aspirated unit, smooth, linear, completely undemanding. Press the accelerator past 60% and the turbos are already at full boost. The 8-speed Tiptronic transmission drops 1 or 2 gears and the car simply goes. Not dramatically, not noisily. It simply goes with a speed and composure that consistently produces double takes from other drivers who were not expecting it. The 48-volt mild hybrid system adds an electric compressor that spools before the main turbos reach operating pressure, eliminating the brief hesitation between throttle input and turbo response that characterizes most turbocharged engines in daily driving. The result is an engine that feels honest. What you ask for arrives immediately. What you receive matches exactly what you requested. That honesty of response is the foundation of the RS7's driving character, and it is what distinguishes great performance cars from merely fast ones. There are 2 types of expensive cars in America. The first type needs everyone in the room to know it is expensive. Yellow Lamborghini, red Ferrari, blue McLaren. Cars that announce themselves from 3 blocks away through sound, color, and aggressive styling. Cars that are designed to generate maximum attention and that succeed completely at that objective. These cars are extraordinary. They are also exhausting to own daily. The second type, rarer, more confident, and in many ways more sophisticated, does not need anyone to know anything. The RS7 belongs to this second category so completely that it defines it. Nardo gray flat paint does not catch light. It does not create the visual drama that metallic paint produces. It absorbs attention rather than demanding it. The shooting brake shape is beautiful to the person who understands it and unremarkable to the person who does not. The RS badges are present but never large. The exhaust note in comfort mode is controlled and almost ordinary. I drove the RS7 to 5 different locations across Los Angeles during my test week. a private members club in West Hollywood, a car show in Malibu where Ferraris and Lamborghinis dominated, a business meeting in Century City, a weekend farmer's market, and a late evening canyon run. At every location, the RS7 attracted the same specific type of attention, not universal attention, but knowing attention. Car people stopped. Non-car people continued walking. This division, between the people who recognized it and the people who did not, is precisely what the RS7's designers intended. And living inside that division for a week was one of the most enjoyable automotive experiences I have had in 11 years of reviewing cars. Sleeper car culture in America has existed as long as American car culture itself. The 1960s muscle car era produced the most celebrated sleepers in automotive history. Ordinary-looking Chevelles and Novas hiding 454 cubic-inch engines that could embarrass purpose-built race cars. The philosophy was always the same. Maximum capability, minimum announcement, the satisfaction of being faster than people expect without needing them to know it in advance. In 2026, that philosophy has evolved. The modern American sleeper buyer is not hiding performance from the authorities or trying to win money at drag strips. The modern sleeper buyer has made a conscious decision that the attention generated by obvious supercars is not the attention they want. They want the attention of people who look past the color and the badge and the exhaust note and see the car itself. That audience, smaller than the general public, more knowledgeable, more engaged, is the audience the RS7 was built for. At a cars and coffee event in Malibu during my test week, the RS7 attracted a specific type of crowd. Not the largest crowd. The yellow Lamborghinis and the Corvette Zerone had larger gatherings. But the people who stopped at the RS7 stayed longer. They asked better questions. They noticed the shooting brake roofline, the Nardo gray paint choice, the discreet performance badging. They were the people who understood that the most interesting choice is rarely the loudest one. Sleeper car culture has always been the domain of people who have moved past the need for obvious approval. The RS7 is the most refined expression of that philosophy currently available for purchase in America. $129,900. Let me give you the comparison that completes this review. Because the RS7 Performance's value proposition only makes complete sense when you measure it against what else $130,000 buys in 2026. The Ferrari Roma at $230,000 produces 612 horsepower, does 0 to 60 in 3.4 seconds, and generates universal attention wherever it goes. The RS7 produces 630 horsepower, does 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds, generates knowing attention from the right people, and costs $100,000 less. The Porsche 911 Carrera S at $130,000 is the RS7's most direct price competitor. It produces 473 horsepower, is more focused as a driver's car, and occupies only 2 passengers practically. The RS7 carries 4 adults in genuine comfort, has a trunk that fits golf bags, and is 157 horsepower more powerful. The Mercedes-AMG S63S at $108,000 produces 603 horsepower and is the closest direct competitor. But its conventional sedan styling lacks the shooting brake's visual distinction, and the AMG's character is louder and more overtly aggressive in every dimension. The RS7 Performance does not try to beat any of these cars on any single metric. It tries to be the most complete performance car available at its price for a specific type of driver. Someone who needs a car that functions as a luxury daily driver, performs like a sports car, carries 4 people with genuine comfort, and does all 3 without announcing any of them to people who did not ask. My honest final verdict after 7 days and 1,100 miles. The 2026 Audi RS7 Performance is the most intelligent performance car purchase available in America at any price under $200,000. Not the most exciting, not the most dramatic, the most intelligent, delivering more capability, more comfort, more sophistication, and more genuine everyday usability than any competitor at its price. And doing it in Nardo Gray, because the right choice has never needed to be the loudest one. UC Car Review 2026 Audi RS7 Performance, 9.7 out of 10. Germany's most beautiful sleeper. America's best kept secret. Subscribe, and next week we find out what happens when this sleeper meets something that cannot be ignored.